Let's go ahead and call this the calm before the storm,
Okay.
right? Make no mistake, though, there is a big winter storm that is on its way. We're taking a live look right now at a couple of different places. Downtown Spokane, the streets looking pretty good. The snow not yet falling, but it will be.
And we're also taking a look at Schweitzer Ski Mountain, and all of the mountains are going to get dumped on with snow over the next 24 hours. It's going to be great skiing in the mountains, but it's going to be tough sledding down here in the lower elevations. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 News First at 4. I'm Tom Sherry.
It's good to have you here. I'm Whitney Ward. So, Chief, today, of course, is when we're really counting on you, and we want to know all the details, and I know you've got everything we need to know.
Yesterday, we had a winter storm watch, meaning it may happen. Now it's been upgraded to a winter storm warning, which means it's certainty that it's going to happen. And look where the winter storm warning is in effect.
Wow.
Everywhere shaded in pink. This is a statewide and region-wide event. So far, the computer modeling is estimating anywhere between 6 and 8 inches of snow falling across much of our area here locally. 8 to 12 inches of snow falling across portions of North Idaho, especially as you get closer up towards Sandpoint and Priest Lake. Also up in the Okanagan Highlands, could get up to a foot of snow there. Look at the Cascades there. 36 plus inches of snow are possible at some of the higher elevations of the Cascades, so that is going to be really tough going. That winter storm warning in effect tonight through Thursday afternoon. I think the bulk of our snowfall, though, is going to fall in the overnight hours, and that will make for tomorrow morning's commute extremely difficult. So we talked at some of the mountain snowfall here locally. Those ski resorts could get in excess of a foot of snow. So obviously dangerous driving conditions will be around the area tomorrow, and they're already dangerous up at Snoqualmie Pass. You can see you've got snow and ice on the roadway right now and difficult traveling. 23 degrees, wind is out of the west-southwest at 5 miles per hour. Actually did see some breaks in the cloud cover. Saw a little bit of sunshine trying to peek out at times. Look at the snow. It's already advancing on the east slopes of the Cascades, now moving into the lower Columbia Basin and south in central Washington, and it is headed our way. By the way, I-84 is just a mess right now. So if you don't have to be traveling on any of the highways and byways, just don't do it. We'll look for heavy snow at times tonight and again tomorrow with a daytime high of 35. It's a sloppy mess on Friday with a daytime high of 40. Could be rain and snow with that daytime high of 40, and then we dry it out just in time for Saturday and cool it down too. We'll look for a high then of 33 degrees.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Let's, if we can, take another look at Snoqualmie Pass, because they're saying another 2 feet of snow is expected to hit the pass here just in the next 24 hours. So they tweeted out earlier today. This is a photo, just a reminder to please take things slowly, because this is a collision that happened just outside of Ellensburg, and obviously that is not good. And it's on top of the more than 20 feet of snow they've already had, which, by the way, is the most snow on the pass in 20 years. The weather has caused multiple accidents across the pass just today alone. Traction tires are required as well at this time. It is open, but that could certainly change, and we know that can change quickly. So please be careful out there.
Well, here in Spokane, city crews are gearing up for the overnight snowfall. This includes getting all crew members in place for when the city needs to move into one of their 24/7 full-service plows.
KREM 2's Amanda Rowley has more on that tonight, and also how the weather this season has really been a challenge for those road crews. Amanda?
Yeah, Tom and Whitney, the Spokane City Streets Department is expecting it will have to shift to a 24/7 full city plow, and that will happen once the snowfall reaches 4 or more inches. We are now in our fully decked out storm tracker vehicle. Take a look. We are heading west on 29th. And this is what we shot earlier today of some snow plows getting ready for the snow expected overnight. Now, when we talk about full city, 24/7 full city plow, that means the city will move to 24/7 operations with a goal of completing that plow work in about 3 days. Now, the street department director, Clint Harris, told me this winter has been challenging for crews so far this season, and that's because we've seen extremely cold weather with snow events back to back. Now, Harris says this has depleted the city's supply of salt and sand much earlier than usual.
Got kind of a balance of temperatures that range this year with the extreme cold. The range has been much colder, which limits the tools that we use to being more granular salt and sand.
Now, Harris says they do have enough supply. Don't be concerned. They have enough supply to be treating the roads. Once crews head out, they will start plowing priority areas such as arterials, and then they will move to those tricky hills that you end up seeing a lot of our crews at. Coming back out live here, as I mentioned, we're heading west on 29th. Very beautiful. The roads are clear, but as I said, we are expecting them to be covered overnight. So we'll be seeing those crews out, making sure that the roads are safe. Now, one thing people don't realize, though, is how much toll it takes on these trucks to maintain our roads. So join me tonight at 5 and I'll break down exactly what it looks like, what it takes to keep them maintained so we can have crews back out on the streets. Reporting from our storm tracker, I'll send it back to you guys.
That is a really good point. And of course, as the snow continues to fall, they can't just do it all in 3 days. They have to go back and keep revisiting those hills and those arterials. So it is a lengthy process.
And we were just talking, the main roads are in pretty good shape right now, but the side roads, the neighborhood roads, you live on the north side, I live on the south side, and they're just really wicked. Now we're going to add another 6 to 8 inches of snow on top of that. This is going to be tough going over the next 24 to 48 hours.
It really is. And as they have been saying all along, that if you don't have to go out, really just don't go out. Like, don't even be a part of it. Great. Don't invite the opportunity for trouble of any kind. If you can stay home, certainly do.
Be flexible. Well, we talked about the city. How about Spokane County? Those road crews are also preparing for the coming storm. De-icer is already being laid down and crews will work around the clock.
So our own Ian Smay talked to the county roads department earlier today. He's joining us now live with more on how they are working right now to try and stay ahead of this storm. Ian?
Spokane County is responsible for 5,100 lane miles of road, which is more than any other county in the state. And these roads that we're by right now, East 57th Avenue and South Palouse Highway, are actually pretty clear just south of the city. And with so many roads to take care of, it can take some time to clear all of the snow. In fact, some of the roads we drove on today were still pretty messy. Crews will be working around the clock to get roads clear when the snow does start falling. A spokesperson for the Spokane County Roads Department said that there are some challenges crews will face, one of which is the different types of roads they'll have to plow.
We have very different situations depending on the part of the county that you're in. And so that just adds a layer of complexity to snow removal.
She also said that there are some worries about freezing rain after the initial snow making roads slick. That could also lead to power lines or branches coming down under the weight of that freezing rain. So they're asking people to give plows time and to avoid passing them if possible. Now, coming up at 5 tonight, I'll have more on the county's efforts to keep roads safe and clear, as well as how well one county resident thinks the process has been so far. Reporting in Spokane County, Ian Smay, KREM 2 News.
Well, across the border, Coeur d'Alene is getting their plows ready for the heavy snow. They started early today by checking all of their equipment and putting out de-icer on roads to melt any ice that might already be there.
In Coeur d'Alene, they start plowing at 3 inches of snow, and they say they are planning on activating that full city plow for the snow that is in the forecast. However, city crews say it could take some time before they get to your neighborhood.
Keep in mind that arterials, collectors, and hills are our first priority. If we get up to 8 inches and we have to plow those more than once, we do not start in our residential neighborhoods until the arterials and collectors are in good shape.
So while they're doing their job clearing the roads, they're asking people to do their part as well to make the plow crew jobs easier.
It's very good advice, and they are asking people to avoid parking on the street altogether. Give those plows lots of room if you encounter them on the road, and of course make sure that you give yourself plenty of time to get where you need without having to rush. So the snow is expected to start falling, in a couple of hours?
Yeah, exactly. It's already falling to the west of us and to the south of us, and just, within the next couple of hours. Yeah. And certainly by the time we get to 9-10 o'clock tonight, I think we're going to really be in it.
Okay, so we want to remind you that you can just text the word snow to 509-448-2000. We'll send you all the information so that you can be prepared for all that snow.
Well, our other big story today, the newest spike in COVID cases here locally. Today, Spokane Regional Health is once again reporting some of the highest new case numbers we've seen since the very beginning of this pandemic. 669 new cases today alone. That is now the third highest daily case count reported in more than 2 years.
So there's no doubt this latest wave of new coronavirus cases is mirroring what we have been seeing at the national level too. But some health experts say we we really shouldn't be looking at case numbers like we used to, and here's why.
New daily COVID-19 case numbers have more than tripled in the past 2 weeks. Omicron now accounting for 95% of new infections in the U.S. We're now seeing a staggering average of nearly 500,000 new cases every single day. And hospitalizations are up too, just not as much. The U.S. is averaging just under 15,000 a day, which is up 63% from the week before. However, it is still well short of our peak average of 16,500. That peak was recorded about a year ago when the vast majority of the U.S. was still unvaccinated. So now let's look at coronavirus death rates in America. Those have been stable over the last 2 weeks at an average of about 1,200 deaths a day, and that is well below our all-time average high of 3,400, which came last January. So while daily case counts have been one of the most closely watched barometers throughout this pandemic, it is considered an imperfect measure. That's in part because they only count lab-confirmed cases, not the actual number of infections out there, which is almost certainly many times higher given our current testing availability. Professors at UW in Seattle estimate for each new infection detected, there are 2 more that go undocumented. So case numbers can point to future hotspots and indicate when and if another wave has peaked, but hospitalizations and deaths are the greater indicator of how serious and dangerous each variant really is.
Well, a lot is changing in the world of COVID thanks to the Omicron variant. The CDC now has new quarantine guidelines. We know it's complicated and confusing at times and always changing, and that's why we're answering your quarantine questions next.